Dolphins fans, what's going on? Welcome to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan. Now, if you've been following the channel since the beginning of the year, you know every week I'm doing keys to victory, I'm doing final preview and prediction videos, and nothing changed. I'm going to do the same thing this week. However, I want to see if I can hold out a little bit longer and get some clarity on the quarterback position. But I'm recording this one late Tuesday night. However, there is a chance that we may learn something on Wednesday during Mike McDaniel's media availability. And right now, the reason I say that is because there's a little bit of speculation potentially about Tua and the possibility of coming out of concussion protocol. And the reason I say that, the speculation, is because of the line movement in Vegas. Because what? The Bills opened at 11 and a half point favorites. Now we're seeing that number drop to Bills favored by 9.5. I think I even saw 8.5 at one point in time. So like I said, all speculation right now, but I want to wait till see if we can learn something on Wednesday before doing those videos. But what I want to do today is take a little bit of a deeper dive. For those that like talking ground and pound, run game, offensive linemen, this video is for you. But I want to talk about how the Dolphins had success running the ball so well last time they played the Bills. Because regardless if Tua plays or not, my assumption is that the run game is maybe once again a focal point of this offense, due in large part to how much success we had week 15 against the Bills. Look at those numbers. 25 carries, 188 yards, and a touchdown. However, there's always a but, right? One of the biggest differences between the wild card game that we got on Sunday and the week 15 matchup is that the guy that produced the bulk of those yards likely isn't going to be there. Raheem Mostert, as you know, has the broken thumb. It required surgery. Very doubtful as of recording this video as to whether or not he's going to play. And if you remember, that week 15 was a game that Jeff Wilson, the guy that's likely to take the bulk of the work that Mostert will miss, he was out that game with the hip injury that he suffered the week before against the Chargers. So we got a lot of uncertainty there. But take a look at this breakdown because Raheem Mostert dominated this game. 17 carries, 136 yards. You had Ahmed, who got the rushing touchdown, added 43 yards. Tua scrambled for 7, and Alec Ingold added a 2-yard plunge. But man, these are great numbers on the ground. This is one of the best running performances we had of the entire season. It's 89 yards higher than our season rush yards per game average. And it came against the league's 5th best run defense in regards to rushing yards allowed per game. The Bills averaged 104.6. So it got me thinking about how we had that much success against one of the league's best run defenses and how we might be able to go ahead, attempt to duplicate those efforts on Sunday when it truly counts, when it's this one game season. So I wanted to take a look at the breakdown. How many attempts we had on like first down, second down, third down, and where the yards came from. So you can see it right there. First down, we crushed it. 16 carries, 159 yards. Second down, 7 carries, 24 yards. Third down, 1 carry for 2 yards. I know a lot of people are going to have an issue with that. If you think back to that game, that's a video for another day. And fourth down, 1 carry for 3 yards. So obviously first, second down, more traditional running down. So nothing crazy or alarming there. But the numbers on first down, like I said, are incredible. That's a 9.9 yards per carry average on first down. Now, if you think back to that game, they're obviously a little bit inflated because Raheem Mostert had a 67-yard carry in this game and happened to come on a first down. But even if you take away that carry from the first downs, we had 15 carries for 92 yards, which is still 6.1 yards per carry. So obviously running on first down was successful and was seen as a priority to give Miami shorter distances to gain on second downs. And guess what? It worked, and it worked brilliantly. Of the 25 plays that the Miami Dolphins called on first down in that game, 16 of them were run calls. 16. So my initial takeaway from the week 15 matchup, at least in regards to how we found success running the ball, was due to running it often on first down, and maybe even more importantly, how successfully we ran it on first down. Now, the other aspect I wanted to look at was the status of the offensive line, because we all know that's been a compromised unit numerous times throughout the season. So this is what we came out with in that game. And all 5 of those guys played all 59 snaps from that game. From left to right, it was Armstead, Robert Jones, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, Brandon Shell. Now, as weird as it may sound to say, because these 5 guys weren't the original week 1 starters on the offensive line, it's not what we came into the season preparing with. I personally think that this combination was our strongest combination of the season. Obviously, the 3 main cogs have been really good: Armstead, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt. And then we replaced Liam Eichenberg with Robert Jones and Austin Jackson with Brandon Shell. Now, here's the next issue. Can we duplicate the week 15 success if we don't have the same lead running back, obviously Raheem Mostert, and that same offensive lineman? Because we've now seen Teron Armstead miss the last two games, 2 weeks. Liam Eichenberg is now back at left guard. And we're potentially talking about shifting Robert Hunt to right tackle and slotting Robert Jones over from left guard. Well, he actually was on the bench last week before moving to right guard after the injury happened to Brandon Shell. So what you're looking at right now is a projected offensive line if we don't have either of the starting tackles. That'd be Teron Armstead and Brandon Shell. Now, we've got to kind of wait and see about Teron Armstead, because if you're like me, you got to believe he's going to be doing anything and everything possible to get back on the field for this one. The dude has been a warrior all season. He's been hurt since week 1. He's now got, 4 lower body injuries in this game? And obviously, if he comes back, in my opinion, we might have our best left tackle and right tackle combination that we have for this team. Because if Brandon Shell can't go, then it's likely that we might trot out the following. This is a potential offensive line if both Teron Armstead can go and Brandon Shell can't go. You're looking at Teron Armstead, Liam Eichenberg, Connor Williams, Robert Jones, Robert Hunt. So now, at least if you can trot this offensive lineup, if Teron Armstead is healthy enough to get back, you're back to at least 4 of the 5 guys that you had from the offensive line from that week 15 matchup against the Bills. However, yes, it is different guys playing left guard, right tackle. Now, if you think about, there's really no way for us to be able to project how this is obviously going to play out. But I'd imagine that having 4 of the 5 guys from that week 15 game, despite playing different positions, would be better than having 3 of the 5 guys from that particular game, especially when the main guy that we're talking about is probably our best offensive lineman. Actually, no, probably about it. The best one, Teron Armstead. And I'm going to end in a minute here talking about Teron Armstead and his obvious importance. But I want to take a second to talk about what I saw when I watched back every one of Raheem Mostert's carries. Because honestly, it was nothing super unique or tricky that the Dolphins were doing now. Because if you look at the week 18 matchup against the Jets, we saw a jet sweep to Jalen Waddle. We saw end arounds to Raheem Mostert. We saw toss sweeps from the shotgun formation. In week 15, it wasn't that. It was a ton of runs, both in shotgun and typical under center turn hand to the running back. But man, go back and watch those. They were either all up the middle or they were off to the right side between that guard and tackle. Now, I will throw in there was a mix of usage between Alec Ingold, traditional fullback, leading the way. Sometimes you had Durham Smythe coming in motion, leading the way, or at least getting like a crackback block. But nothing super unique, nothing tricky that we were doing. It was old-fashioned ground and pound. Now, I did talk about, let me get that off your screen there so you don't get distracted or anything. I did talk about ending with a little bit of Teron Armstead talk, because Teron Armstead and Connor Williams back in that week 15 matchup both finished as top 5 on the Dolphins that day in Pro Football Focus grades. Teron Armstead scored an 80, Connor Williams was 76.5. And every single offensive lineman, all 5 of them, scored a run blocking grade over 70, except Robert Jones, who was 58.6. Now, remember with PFF, that 50 is average. So it's not even like Robert Jones was a liability or anything. He was pretty good. He just looked like he didn't do as good because everyone else scored above 70 in run blocking grade. So take that for what you will, but those are at least some of my observations from when I went back, dug into the ground game, watched all the carries, and actually did a little bit of numbers as to how we got there. But like I mentioned, and kind of questioned earlier, can we duplicate that performance without Raheem Mostert? And can we duplicate that performance with a potentially wounded offensive line? Because that's likely what we're looking at, even if Teron Armstead can go, even if a guy like Brandon Shell can go. So that is what I've got for today's video. Like I said, wanted to do a little bit of dive into what happened there in that week 15 matchup, how we had so much success on the ground. But I want to hear from you. What do you think from the ground game? Do you think we'll be able to duplicate it? What are the hurdles going to be? Drop your thoughts, drop your comments in the comments below. That's what they're there for. And then obviously, like I said, stay tuned throughout the week. Going to have a lot more previews, predictions, all the Dolphins news leading up to the game. Get subscribed, turn on those notifications. Going to continue to be dropping videos throughout the week. But that is my time for today, Miami Dolphins fans. And until next time, fins up.